Hello and welcome to the first episode of Steven's Game Breakdown. Now, the first thing I should probably tell you is this is not going to be a video of me having a complete mental breakdown over a game. At least not this episode. So if that's what you came here expecting to see, I'm sorry, but that's just not going to be in the video, at least not this time. Now for the rest of you, this is a video about games. Now the first game I've decided to start with is a game called Drone. Drone is a 1997 2D vertical scrolling shooter. It has some 3D graphics pre-rendered, but I think all it really has is just the ships and the asteroids in the menu. Now it was developed and published by Pixelsplash software and later on by Extreme Games for a secondary release. Now I first played this game when I was a little kid and later on found it on the E-Games Galaxy of Games release CD. For a scrolling shooter, the story is pretty basic. Aliens have penetrated Earth's security system and launched 6 nuclear missiles that they call drones for some reason. I'm not sure why they're called drones. Anyways, these drones are headed towards major population centers and they need to be stopped. Now, to stop the drones, they launched a bunch of high-performance ships that you control. Yeah, you control one at a time in the game. And they sent these to battle through the aliens and launch a blue probe to latch onto the drone to disarm it. More on that in a minute. Now it says previous attempts to stop them has been thwarted by the massive alien ships escorting each drone. But I get the feeling that if they've breached the Earth security system, then it's pretty obvious the ships you control are the only thing they've sent to take it down. Also, they said they launched several high-performance ships, so they knew they were going to lose it. Yeah, the pilots of these ships know they're on a suicide mission. Unless the ship is unmanned or remote-controlled. I feel like if that was what they called the drone and that was what the game's name was built on, I feel like that would have been a little bit better game. Yeah, it would have been kind of interesting if the whole premise of the game was you control a ship called a drone and go through different levels. But I guess Tyrium kind of beat them to that style. Well, they also kind of just ran out of time, I think. Now, the ship you control is pretty basic. For a scrolling shooter ship, it has 2 main weapons. It has exploding tipped missiles, which I kind of imagine are like bolter rounds from Warhammer 40k. Red stingers, and then the disarming probes. Oh yeah, you also have shields that come up for about 2 seconds, but they don't really do much. They're kind of just there to be there, I guess. And they recharge really slowly, so they're kind of useless. Now when you get blown up, you're just replaced by the next ship. Oh, and also when you blow up, whatever weapon you're holding, you know, like the probe or the stinger, it fires. That's not really too big of a problem until later on. Yeah, every now and then it launches when you don't want it to, or it launches right when you want it to. Now the red stinger, when you fire it, it tracks the enemy. It's supposed to track the enemy ships, but it only does about as much as a scrolling shooter can really show you doing it. I'd be impressed if they managed to set it up to where it would turn around on the screen and come back at you. The blue probe that your ships carry, you're supposed to launch to disarm the drones. Yeah, basically you fire them and they latch onto the drone and sends it a code that basically says that tricks the drone into thinking the mothership has given the disable code. Yeah, I don't know. Taking down a nuclear missile, I don't think the best option is to launch another missile at it. Oh, wait a minute. Now, anyways. Now, a big problem with the probe and stinger is that to bring them up to the same button. So you can pretty much sit there and hit it once and it'll switch back and forth 5 times between the stinger and the probe. Now, when I was playing this game, I used to play with the keyboard, but then I started using the controller because I finally managed to figure out how to get that to work. And it's a little bit easier with a controller, so I imagine any other kind of gamepad would probably be a little bit easier. But yeah, it's fast. It switches back and forth really fast. This game has tuned my reactions to be fairly fast, but this is way too fast. It's not really too big of a deal though. To take down the drones, you just destroy the ships surrounding it, and then fire the blue probe at it. You got a pretty clear path most of the time. Although in the later levels, it gets a little more difficult. Alright, let's talk about the controls. Now, they're pretty basic for a scrolling shooter. They got the arrow keys that move your ship around. The Z button toggles between stinger and probes, and then X fires them. Control fires your main weapon, the exploding tipped missiles. and the bar activates your shields. Oh, also, the L button gives you 9 lives. That's actually pretty handy when you're playing this game, especially when you get to the final bonus level. Hell, even in the last level, it's pretty handy. I remember as a kid, we had a super simple controller, and I could never get it to work for this game. But the controller I bought, I managed to figure out how to get work. Yeah, just a $30 Walmart thing. Now, you can't change the controls for the keyboard, but it does have a configure joystick option, but only works if you have a joystick plugged in. Alright, on to the levels. Now, for the levels, there are 6 levels. You've got the river, the desert, the mountains, the islands, the suburbs, and the city at night. You know, it says the suburbs, but those don't look like suburbs to me. They look more like a rural or modern day deal. Those aren't suburbs. Well, there's 6 levels, but there's technically 7. You've got a bonus level. Now, each level is pretty much the same, except the last one. You shoot at alien ships till the level boss shows up. And each level boss is a little bit different, except the 5th one. They just repeated the first one's boss. Now, to take them down, you have to fire your exploding tip missiles at them to either blast through some plasma, rearrange some kind of complex lock, or just cause a door to open. And then once that hole is open, you fire the red stinger into it and it takes it down. Yeah, the explosions are always kind of fun to look at. Now, the only one that's really different than this is the level 2 boss. I'm not sure what exactly these ships are supposed to be, but there's 2 of them, and they have a laser beam going between them. Now, this laser beam will one-shot you, but your best bet is it takes 2 or 3 stingers to take down each one. Sometimes, for some reason, it takes only 1 to take down the first one and 2 or 3 to take down the next one. I thought this level boss is probably the most unique, and I think they had something like this planned for the 5th level, but then ran out of time. Yeah, it's a real shame they did, though. I would have been impressed if they had put levels 3 and 4's bosses together and had like a laser beam, or hell, even 3 level bosses together and done something like that. But, anyways. Now, in each level, once you take out the level boss, you move on to disarming the drone. Now, this is somewhat easy to do for the first 3 levels, but you pretty much shoot down the surrounding ships that are surrounding the drone, and before more are able to recreate a circle around it, you fire a blue probe to disarm it. Now, you have to be careful doing this, because if you hit the drone with anything except the blue probe, you will destroy it and blow it up. Which, they don't really specify if that's bad or good, but if you blow up 1 or more of the drones throughout the game, you don't get to face the bonus level. Now, the last 2 levels are more of a challenge for this, because the ships surrounding it are more than one-shot ships, unlike the rest of them. But they're a little bit easier to take out when they're circling like this with your main weapon. Although, I did not know this when I was a kid, so I always ended up just spamming blue probes and red stingers, because the blue probes will take out the individual alien ships. They're just not as effective as the red stingers. Now, through each level, you have a progress tracker on the left side of your screen, and it tells you the drones you've taken down safely, the ones that you've blown up by accident or on purpose, and the ones you haven't gotten to. Pretty much blue is the ones you've taken down safely, red is the ones you've blown up by accident or on purpose, and white's the one you're on or haven't gotten to. Oh, by the way, when you're taking these drones down, even if you've disabled it, you can still blow them up by accident after they've deployed the parachute. I don't know if you can blow them up with a red stinger, but you can definitely hit them with your exploding tipped missiles. Now, taking down each drone properly does matter in the long run. Yeah, if you manage to not blow up any of the drones and manage to actually get them to land safely with the parachute, then the game lets you face the last bonus level, the mothership, or as they call it, the mother. Now, as a kid, I didn't even know this level existed. In fact, I think I was like 19 or 20 and I went back and played it and thought, oh hey, I got all the drones disabled, that's great. Then it said, now to the mother, and I'm like, oh. Then I saw this screen, and I'm like, wait, what? Then it sent me to this battle. I freaked out. It's freaking crazy. This thing is impossible to take out. You're getting swarmed by little ships, and basically to take it out, you have to fire red stingers into the opening that's firing flames at you, all while it's moving around as fast as you are, shooting at you. Yeah, your shields do nothing against the flames, and even if they did, they're not up long enough to really do anything. Now, something I forgot to mention This game, for some reason, on the e-games release, operates in a very fast speed. I don't know why. I have no idea why. It operates weirdly fast. In the original versions, it operates a lot slower, about half the speed that you're seeing here. So yeah, playing this game, you have to have fast reflexes, otherwise you're pretty much done. Although that L button really helps you out there, that's for sure. But anyways, let's move on to the music in the background. Now, the backgrounds, you probably noticed the backgrounds by now. Yeah, they put a decent amount of work into the backgrounds, I think. It's pretty much the same frames going back and forth. You have these different levels, whatnot, you know. There's not really much music, which is a real shame. I think this game would have been really cool if it had been paired up with some, you know, with really any kind of music, you know. Hell, doom music, metal music, progressive metal music, rock and roll, 80s style music. Hell, 8-bit arcade level music would have been fun with this stuff. But, you know, this game was developed and published by a husband and wife duo out of Virginia. Yeah, it's Pixelsplash. The husband and wife duo started Pixelsplash. This was the only game they came out with. I'm not sure how long they worked on it, but they're the ones who put all the work into it. Now, I think 2 years after they came out with it, Extreme Games is the one who worked on it or did something with it and made it part of the e-games release. Yeah, Pixelsplash didn't find much success with this game. I'm not super surprised. It's a good effort, but even in 99, 97, 98, 99, this game was never going to make it. Later on, though, Pixelsplash turned into J&C Studios. Yeah, they found pretty good success with that, though. I don't know, I enjoyed this game, and I'm pretty sure the people who remember it enjoyed it. Now, the only versions of this game I've been able to find is, I don't know if they came out with it on a CD by itself, but the E-Games Galaxy of Games released 350. I don't know why it says 350. There's not 350 games on here. Anyways, that's a copy I have and that I've been able to find. This game is also free to download through Abandonware. You can find a version of it to play online, but it's the slow version, the original version. And I don't know, it's just not the same. Although, playing that version, your shields do seem to make more sense. I think this game would have done a lot better if it had come out 10 years before it did. Yeah, it would have been a pretty interesting concept back in '87, that's for sure. Just walk into an arcade and see something that says Drone, D-R-O-N-E, on top of a big arcade and a little control. Walk over there. But, oh yeah, I forgot. This game has scoring. Now, I don't know why they put scoring in this game. It's one of the few scrolling shooter games I've found where the scoring doesn't seem to matter all that much. But it does just let you see how good you are with the controls, I guess. Yeah, anyways. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. That's Drone. It's a game that somebody clearly put a decent amount of work into, but obviously not enough. But that's not to say it's a bad game. I thought it was a good. If you're watching this video and think this game is dumb, well, you should go play it for yourself. Go out and find the fast version and play it for yourself. I'm going to challenge you to play this game. Oh well. Well, if you made it to the end, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode, which will have the most unique design system for basic units. Oh, and lasers. Yeah, not that many lasers, but it will be lasers.